But like I said, this is going to be the proving ground for them to prove if they are ready for that main event status. This to me is the final test. This will be the final test against main event stars. And depending on if they drag the Shield situation up until Mania, Mania will be the final, final test. Well, not the final test, but will be, in my opinion, the final event that the Shield will have together as a team. That's what I feel. That's what I feel. The Shield will have one final run before going into Mania, and then after Mania, I feel the WWE might start to disband them. But I think there might be more to this whole Shield situation than meets the eye. Because when you think about it, folks, the Shield could incorporate some NXT stars to help them on Sunday. Not saying they will, but I think there might be a situation that associates itself with NXT in some form or fashion. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. But I feel that might be the case, but I could be wrong. Now, also speaking of Raw, The Miz, of course, pretty much, I guess, paid for his mistake, if you will, this past Monday on Raw. Now, on Raw, when Antonio Cesaro caused Cody Rhodes to get disqualified, and then Antonio Cesaro took Miz like this and just swung him around from the barricade, almost bouncing off the floor onto the barricade, off the floor onto the barricade. And he did a giant swing back and forth, if you know what I mean. A giant swing back and forth, that's what he did. And you might notice that every time he was doing that, when he would hit him on the floor a little bit or drop him a bit on the floor, then pick him up, it was on the head. So basically, I'm thinking Miz sort of got his lesson taught to him this past Monday on Raw, courtesy of Antonio, because of what happened over the weekend. Now, in case you guys don't know what happened over the weekend, at a live event, to make up for the fact that The Rock wasn't there, CM Punk teamed up with Antonio to take on Miz and Ryback. And what happened is that there was a sequence where both men went for a stalling suplex. Basically, Ryback had Antonio in a stalling suplex. Punk tried to come in and interfere. Miz stopped him, improvised or did something, did a stalling suplex as well. And then when they both went to drop him in stereo, if you know what I mean, simultaneously, Ryback did his correctly. Miz did not. Miz accidentally turned his into a brainbuster suplex, if you will, brainbuster suplex. And for a few minutes, Punk was down on the floor holding his head. So basically, because CM Punk is one of the major stars now, WWE was concerned over this, but CM Punk, excuse me, CM Punk, obviously tougher than nails, I guess, was able to, shake it off and continue the match. But basically, that is the reason why Antonio did what he did this past Monday on Raw. That was basically punishment to The Miz for what Miz did on Saturday, in my opinion. Now you might say, well, that's impossible. Miz has more stroke than Antonio. Yes, but Antonio's very tight with CM Punk. Remember, both come from the independents. Excuse me. Both come from the independents. So, with that said, because of his association with Punk in some ways, Antonio does have a bit more stroke, in my opinion, than Miz. So that is why you had that situation on Raw, that post-match attack on Raw. So, anyway, that's why you had that post-match attack on Raw. Hold on for a minute, folks. Trying to get my dog in here. But anyway, that's why you had that attack on Raw in the way it was done, in my opinion. But for those that are asking, is this going to cost Miz his job? No, it's not going to cost him his job. Miz is too much of a commodity. He does too much for the WWE to lose his job. And I'm pretty sure people that ask that question, oh, is he going to lose, this might lead to him losing his job. IWC, YWC, ROH fans, get over it. It's not going to happen. Anyway, though, with that situation there, basically we had more development with Big Show and Antonio. Well, not Antonio, but Alberto, I should say. Big Show basically very silent, very like, ooh, he just wants to tear into somebody. Not in a talkative mood, if you know what I mean. And basically knocked out both Riley and Tatsu backstage, who, if you're fans of those guys, are happy to see they finally got a segment on Raw, which means they might be getting some push in the future. As well as Matt Striker gets knocked out. You know what I mean? So anyway, you have all that. And then Del Rio, of course, beats Damien Sandow in quick fashion. And a lot of people are wondering what's going on with Sandow and Rhodes. Why are they being punished? I think, honestly, they may have wanted to separate, but WWE did not want it to happen. So I'm thinking maybe they're being punished to the point that it's like, hey, you guys don't want to be punished anymore? Stay together as a team. I'm just saying. My opinion, I'm just saying. But anyway, besides that, of course we got Del Rio. Didn't say that the fun and games are all going to be over and it's time to get serious. And we'll just have to see what happens on Sunday. Now, one of the matches that was added to Sunday, along with the Elimination Chamber match, the World Title match, the WWE Championship match, and the 6-man tag, apparently was something that took place on WWE app. If you know what I mean, on the action app, if you will. Caitlyn basically had been wondering why she wasn't on television lately. And Vicky Guerrero basically said it's because she's getting her ready to face, or getting her ready to defend her title on Sunday against Tamina Snuka. And basically what happened is Caitlyn, from what I understand, went to shake Tamina's hand. Tamina basically gave her a promo of, hey, you're undeserving of that title. They basically got into a brawl backstage in Vicky's office. And Tamina, from what I understand, chucked Caitlyn through 2 end tables or something like that, or onto 2 end tables. And a lot of people are saying, man, why wasn't that shown on Raw? Hey, I don't know, folks. I'm not in charge of WWE. If I was, I would have Caitlyn on every week because she is your Divas champion. You need to get some recognition for that division. And if you're going to do something like that, it needs to be seen by a lot of people. Excuse me. But I do agree, it needs to be seen by a lot of people. Anyway, so we got that match happening. And then, of course, we have The Rock come out. And I tell you, this Rock promo, I thought it was okay. Wasn't one of his best works. But basically, he was kind of telling a story of how his family moved to Nashville when he was a teenager. And how he bought a car from a crackhead and everything. But what got me, ladies and gentlemen, and you know me, you know me. I'm a fan, I'm a supporter, and I'm a fan of OTRS, of the Off the Rope Show. And what got me was I was watching this promo, listening to what The Rock said. And when The Rock said he bumped into a Magic Man, somebody from the audience asked him, oh, who was it? Jeff Jarrett? Now, I didn't hear the Jeff Jarrett part, but obviously Rock, he did, and he said, no, not Jeff Jarrett. and as soon as I heard that, ladies and gentlemen, I said to myself, being a fan of the Off the Rope Show, being a supporter of the group, I said to myself, oh, I cannot wait to see Jeff Siegel, the Schleg Daddy's reaction to that. I cannot wait to see that. And even though, when I saw the review, even though he didn't get into his assumed Jeff Jarrett position, I like how he tried to avoid it at first, but then you had Mike Rout come in and say, well, wait a minute. During that promo, your hero brought up somebody that you despise more than Triple H himself. And then he spelled out the first name, and Tasteless Tony spelled out his last name. And I love Schleg Daddy's reaction when he heard this. He was like, basically, he said it took what we all agree was an enjoyable, a very good Raw, a very good go-home edition of Raw, and in Jeff Siegel's, the Schleg Daddy's opinion, ruined it for him because of that name being mentioned. It's like the, and to me, it's like, man, it's not even been like 3 weeks since the last time he saw or heard Jeff Jarrett on television, and now he hears his name on WWE. I mean, he sees and hears him on Classic AWA, which comes on 2 hours before, which comes on in a 2-hour block before Raw here on the Pacific Coast. But anyway, it's like, just like that, he can't get away from this. It's like, okay, he can understand AWA showing Jeff Jarrett on television. He can understand saying, Miz TV saved the night on Raw, and Classic AWA stuff made the night. And as soon as he says that, according to Tony a couple of weeks ago, that's when Jeff Jarrett shows up on Classic AWA. So it's like he can't avoid him. It's like, okay, he can expect, but he can't avoid him on AWA. But it's like he can't even get away from the name now with WWE. Of all places, if you know what I mean. Of all places, he can't get away from the name, especially with WWE. But anyway, basically what happened is you have CM Punk come out with Paul Heyman. He starts brawling with The Rock. Rock goes to the people's elbow. Paul Heyman trips him up. CM Punk hits the GTS, takes the belt, and basically indicates that, hey, this is my belt. It was never yours. It's mine. I'm the champion. You're not. If you're going to be champion, you got to beat me without any help. So, and to me, the whole no DQ, the whole stipulation of if Rock gets counted out or disqualified, he loses the title. To me, it's basically just saying he's going to retain on Sunday. So, Those are just my thoughts on Raw this past Monday. Sorry this was in 2 parts, but let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll talk to you later. Peace out. God bless.